Welcome to The Explainer, where we break down big ideas. Today, we are diving into a pretty wild new theory that tries to answer one of the biggest, most haunting questions in all of science. Why is the universe so quiet?
Right, let's get straight into it. And we have to start with a question that's been bugging scientists for the better part of a century. A question famously asked by the physicist Enrico Fermi. I mean, really think about it for a second. Our galaxy has hundreds of billions of stars, and there are trillions of other galaxies out there. Just by the sheer numbers, you think the cosmos would be absolutely buzzing with intelligent technological life. But when we listen, when we point our most powerful telescopes to the stars, we get nothing. Just silence. And that huge contradiction, that's the Fermi Paradox. Now, for a long time, the go-to explanation for this silence has been something called the Great Filter. The idea is that there must be some massive, nearly impossible barrier that stops life from making it to a galaxy-spanning stage.
And usually, when people talk about this filter, they're talking about external threats. Things that happen to a civilization from the outside. A giant asteroid, a nearby star going supernova, or maybe they just blow themselves up. It's like a giant wall that a species has to somehow climb over to survive. But what if we've been looking in the wrong place? A really fascinating new idea suggests the filter isn't some cosmic accident waiting to happen. What if the deadliest trap is one we build for ourselves? And that brings us to the sixth loop hypothesis. The idea isn't that advanced civilizations die out, it's that they just go quiet. They become so swamped by their own information that they're forced to turn all their energy inward just to cope. They basically unplug from the rest of the universe. And why the sixth loop? Well, the name implies it's the final internal test after a civilization has already survived 5 earlier external threats. So you can see this is a huge shift in thinking, right? The Great Filter isn't a great wall you might get lucky and climb over. It's a great whirlpool, a systemic problem that a civilization creates for itself and then falls into. It's not random. It's a predictable outcome of becoming too complex.
Okay, so how does this actually work? How does the civilization literally drown in its own data? Well, it all comes down to a really simple imbalance. A growing gap between how much information we create versus our ability to actually process it.
Let's use an analogy. Picture a bathtub. The faucet is pouring in water. That's all the data, the media, the noise a society produces. And it's on full blast. The drain? That's the civilization's ability to filter all that stuff, to figure out what's true, what's important. The six-loop hypothesis says that eventually, the faucet will always outpace the drain. The tub overflows. And when that happens, the system goes into emergency mode. It has to shut everything else down just to deal with the internal flood. No more big space projects, no more shouting into the cosmos.
And this is where things get, well, a little too real for us right now, because there's a technology that's just exploded onto the scene that could be the ultimate amplifier for this whole process: artificial intelligence. So when it comes to AI, this theory says we are at a massive fork in the road, a bifurcation, as the paper calls it. AI can be our savior, or it could be the very thing that pushes us over the edge. The question is, are we building a bigger faucet or a bigger drain? Here are the two paths. On one hand, if we get it right, if we build AI that's aligned with helping us find truth and make sense of the world, it could be a massive, bigger drain. It could boost our capacity to filter information and help us pass this great filter. But if we get it wrong, if AI is used to just pump out more noise, more deepfakes, more bots, then it's just a bigger faucet on an unimaginable scale. And that would send us spiraling into the sixth loop attractor that much faster. Now, what makes this whole idea so compelling is that it's not just some cool sci-fi story. It's actual science. It makes specific, testable predictions about what we should find when we look out into space.
And here's the kicker. If the six-loop hypothesis is on the right track, it means for the past 60 years, our search for extraterrestrial intelligence has been looking for all the wrong things.
So, instead of looking for powerful, continuous lighthouse beacon that's constantly screaming, "We are here!" we should be looking for something that flickers, a signal that turns on and off. A civilization trapped in the sixth loop would be too distracted by its own internal chaos to maintain a steady broadcast. They might only manage it in short, intermittent bursts. And you can forget about finding those perfect, giant Dyson spheres wrapping around a star. That takes a level of coordination a civilization focused inward just wouldn't have. Instead, this theory predicts we should be looking for the messy signs of life. The patchy, uneven heat signatures coming from a planet's surface. The waste heat of a civilization just dealing with its own domestic problems. The authors of the paper put it perfectly. The cosmos is quiet, not because it's empty, but because it's full of civilizations that have become terminally distracted. They're all at home, dealing with their own information flood. And that, of course, leaves us with one last pretty chilling thought. As we're sitting here, scrolling through our own feeds, dealing with our own information overload, and watching AI get more and more powerful, are we looking at the beginning of our own sixth loop? Are we right now building our own whirlpool?